Whoa, that is crazy smooth. I am Jaden Borch, Kilowatt Echo 8 Golf Delta Papa. My first time filming is 60 frames per second. Alright, pretty smooth. 1080p. 4K was actually taking up too much space. It's the local repeater, one of them. And they're at my club. The club I'm in has a few repeaters. And today we're gonna show you my repeater. So this video is more made for my science teacher who was interested in it and wanted to see the video, but also anybody else who'd be interested in this topic. So very smooth, very beautiful up here. Here's the greenhouse where the repeater is located. I'll go ahead and call into the repeater. KE8GDP, testing 1, 2. As you see, courtesy tone there. Here is our antenna for the repeater. I don't think you can see it that well. I'll go up this ladder. This crookedy old ladder. I have my radio hanging there really weirdly. Let me hop up here. And simple quarter wave thingy. Held in by some screws. I'm not proud of this clamp job, but I don't really have any other things. I'm gonna come up here one day with some snips and cut a notch out of this fiberglass roofing material. See, we get the coax. Goes into the building just like that. Let me crawl down this rickety old ladder. Grab my radio. And we'll go ahead and enter the greenhouse. Here's the greenhouse right here. And I'll go ahead and open it up. Okay. So now that we're in the greenhouse, I will show you the repeater. Up here, that PVC pipe right there is a VHF, UHF dual band homebrew antenna. I didn't make it. A guy in our club named K8GDP. Can't think of his call right off the bat, but K8GDP made that for me, and he gave me a 10-deck radio with it as well, HF radio. We have my TM731A Kenwood radio. I think I already said Kenwood, but whatever. This is the receiving antenna. the receiving radio because it transmits on. It's pretty noisy. If I ever get a I don't know. It's probably the transistors going bad in it. The transmit transistors going bad in it. If I ever replace that, I might swap it around so this repeater has more power. And I got my Baofeng EV5R here as the transmitter. Now the software the repeater controller I'm using is a software called Echo Station that I bought a long time ago to play around with it. And you can see here's the receiver level and there's a transmitter level. I can actually start announcements from here.
KE8GDP repeater. This is an experimental repeater.
I don't really have any announcements or anything. It's supposed to be Morse code or whatever, but I don't think it's working too well. As you can see, this repeater software is pretty iffy, but it's a good software once you figure it out. There is my power supply, so I'll go ahead and quickly go through it. Up there's the antenna, and by the way, the video just suddenly stops because I'm running out of space or my battery died. So the antenna comes in here, coax, curls around, which probably isn't good for the SWR, but I don't really care. This Baofeng can't hurt these things. So, goes in from a B&C to SMA connector. And you get your SMA into the SMA male, or SMA female, because that's how these Baofeng thingamabobs work. So female to male. Well, the male's on the Baofeng and whatever. I got that. Now, I'm still waiting on frequency coordination. I'll make another video on that. I'm waiting for our local frequency coordinator to get back with me. Right now, I'm transmitting on some unoccupied frequencies, which I do not suggest ever doing that. Try to get it coordinated first, but I need to test this thing, and I'm doing this at my own risk. I don't know what the risk is, other than you could be transmitting on somebody else, and that's not nice. So yeah, just make sure you make sure you do a little bit of research, but you definitely want to get it frequency coordinated. Once I get it coordinated, I'll stick it up on repeater book, and yeah, and I guess I'll go ahead and do another call out on it, and show you some more information, more things about the software. Call out on it. Some four-wheeler ATV people up there. So, KE8GDP monitoring. Yeah, you can see that. It's a good picture right there. Pretty high quality. So now, I'll hop in here and I'll show you some features with this software. Whoa, falling off the step stool here. Some of the features we have here is auto patch. You can have a phone line system thingy set up. Oh, it has simplex repeater mode, which is actually pretty fun to play with. So if I go into general, set simplex repeater, and there's my HF radio power supply that I use. Now if I transmit on it, it's a simplex repeater. KE8GDP testing simplex mode.
GDP testing simplex mode.
It's very iffy because the receipt, it skips a lot. So it's really meant for emergency situations only. If I knock that over. Anyways. And I'll go ahead and bring the radio in here. Let me set back to repeater mode. And I'll show you the receiver transmit levels. And I'll explain what's going on there. So if I come in here with the radio. And right here on the receiver transmit levels. You can see if I talk in here. When I talk into the radio. This will, fluctuate. And then on the transmitter, you'll see that fluctuate almost a little bit later than the receiver. This is what you would call a duplex or conventional repeater, where you talk into one frequency and it simultaneously transmits that on the other frequency. If you're on simplex repeater, it's meant for one antenna, one frequency. Talk in it on one frequency. After a few seconds, it'll rebroadcast it back out on the same frequency. So, here we go. Testing, KE8GDP. As you can see, the receiver level is changing and the transmitter level is almost falling right behind it. And as you can also see, the transmitter is transmitting at the same time. And it will be transmitting what I'm saying currently. KE8GDP. And you also seen the, here, let me use my antenna as a pointer here. You also seen that the, courtesy tone, which is the end tone there. After I'm done talking, you'll hear it go doo-doo. That is the transmitter. You'll see the transmitter audio levels change with the courtesy tone. Now you can also add events by clicking new event next, and you could either have a recorded like MP3 file or a synthesized voice announcement, which uses Windows 10's built-in text-to-speech thing for their I guess ADA compliance or whatever. And then I can go ahead and give it a file. I already have a file here. And, I don't want to create a new one. I want to select DTRF test next. One time only. And then you want to open up your advanced properties. Once you open that up, you can set it a DTMF trigger sequence. Now, DTMF is what phones use. That's why you hear those tones when you type in a phone number. But they're also using radio for triggering stuff. So I'm going to give it, something like, *2. So now I can't think, sorry. Now if I type in *2 in DTMF tones, I'm going to have to sit down on my phone because you won't be able to see this. And I'm going to might make this video a little bit shorter than I'd like to. It is getting pretty dark out here. Not a big deal. I don't live too far away from it. So here we go. You didn't get that. It actually says ignoring unassigned DTMF sequence 2. I'll show that on the screen here. So if it doesn't...
KE8GDP repeater. This is an experimental repeater. Out.
Alright. And there's the supposed Morse code. I'm thinking that's supposed to say KE8GDP, but that's not how you sound a call sign in Morse code. Anyways, DTMF trigger sequence, it says star 2, and as you can see, if it gets a DTMF sequence that isn't programmed to an event here, it'll just say it ignored it. Now, it's not just events that use this. Things like the auto patch setup also can be disabled and enabled via the DTMF tones, such as not just enabling and disabling, but you can also call people. That's what the auto patch is. It allows you to make a patch between the radio and the phone lines, and you can make phone calls over it. But also, which, by the way, that is something I want to play with in the future, but that would require a whole bunch more setup, like getting internet up here, and getting a modem out here, and a phone line, and it's complicated, to say the least. Maybe there might be a software thing for that. I don't know. I'll have to contact with some people. Also, one thing you'll notice is, since this is Vox, it takes a second before the transmitter starts transmitting. So the controller starts saying its announcements, and then like a little bit later, then this thing starts transmitting and it cuts off part of the message. This software does support serial push to talk systems. So they're usually meant to be used with, this software is meant to be used with a rig blaster. But I'm thinking I can make an Arduino code and a circuit that will activate a relay whenever the push-to-talk's pushed in. And the way these Baofeng things work is you have to have both mic things plugged in, and when you short the ground out between them or something like that, I'm trying to think. It's been a long time since I've messed with that, but it'll start talking. It'll activate the push-to-talk. Dang, I can't think. Anyways, so star 2, let me go ahead and test it again. Let me hold it in. Well, I want to see if I can put my phone up here, almost like it's a tripod. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but there we go, almost like an overhead view. And if I do
DTMF complete. Result passing KE8GDP repeater.
alrighty. And then there's the not CWCW. So, yeah, there's the, that's the DTMF test. And you can add a whole bunch of stuff. You can also add sounds and stuff. Like, let me see if I can find something that ain't music, because the FCC specifically states no music over the air. Public documents. Downloads. Documents. I don't know if I never used this laptop much a long time ago. That's when I used to use it a long time ago, but I haven't used it a lot since then. That was weird. Is there anything in music? There's iTunes. Well, there's nothing for me to really test. So that's the repeater. And, let me just go ahead and turn the brightness down so I'm not annoying any neighbors. And, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lock up for tonight. And, just show you that the DTMF does work again. There is actually, you can activate the announcements by doing star 1. So if I set down my camera here and I do that.
KE8GDP repeater. This is an experimental repeater. Out.
So yeah. Oh, there goes the Morse code again. Come on, let me shut this lock. Okay, so that's the KE8GDP repeater, and I hope y'all enjoyed this. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. If my science teacher is watching, hello. And yeah. So I'm gonna probably come back tomorrow and cut that out, and then I'll take down the ladder. And it's getting really dark, or not really, really dark. It's a lot better on camera, but let me just show you how beautiful the sunsets are. In Nemours, that's this valley. In Nemours Valley, look at how beautiful that is. If the trees weren't in there, it'd be spectacular. Let me actually come down here. Oh, there's a deer. Yeah, I don't know why I said that's a deer, because they're pretty abundant here. There's so many, you could just look and you'll find one. Oh, there he goes. And usually they're in a herd of like 5 or 6, so it was kind of rare to just see one deer like that. And I'll come back down here, maybe you'll be able to see the sunset a little bit better. I'm just kind of roaming on. Yep, there they are. Oh, down there. A lot of deer. It's quite nice down here, actually. I got quite a few videos I gotta make. One of them is an antenna. I'm working on a random wire antenna, which I've already made the random wire antenna part. I just got some new speaker wire that I'm gonna be using. It's about 200 feet. Well, it's 100 feet, but I can split it in half and then get 200. Alright, we're getting to a more viewable area of the sunset. Here we go. It's pretty nice. You can't really see the purple ripple. It's over that way. Kind of see it. Purple haze. It looks a lot better. It's kind of like the song. It looks a lot. You can definitely tell the purple a lot better in person. But it's just very, very beautiful down here. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hi, my science teacher. And, yeah. There's a star. You can just barely see it, but there's a star up there. 73, KE8GDP. Fourth time's a charm. So I can't scroll up because it has too much personal information. But here's the frequency coordination submission. And, I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of the stuff I had to fill out. The first thing we'll go over is that the top here, GAMSL, is 2,500 feet. That is the transmitter height from sea level, so about 2,500 feet. AHAG is the antenna, like the center of the antenna. I guess it'd be center of gravity. I don't know. The center of the antenna height off the ground. That's about 10 feet from me. Antenna pattern omni. It's omnidirectional. It's not directional antenna. Antenna gain. It's about 3 decibels for this quarter wave VHF antenna. As you see, frequency band 144 megahertz. I was testing it on UHF, but it can work on either one. Output power is about 8 watts. Duplexer insertion loss. There is no duplexer. This is a 2 antenna setup, so we don't need a duplexer. And so I don't need a duplexer, so 0 decibels. I'm using television coax cable when I built that antenna a long time ago, and the loss of that is about 1.5 decibels per 100 feet. And then we got like 5 feet of it, so it's very little. FM wideband. There's no access like CTCSS or DCS tones, so it's just if you key up, it'll hear it. There is emergency power. Well, not yet. That's something I'm going to be working on, but that's something I actually plan on adding. Repeater calculations. I didn't fill this out. This just, I guess this is just, they just put this in here. Repeater calculation. System gain, 12 decibels. System loss, 0 decibels. ERP, 16 watts. AHAAT, I don't know what that means, negative 85 feet. Publish in as, yeah. I don't want to scroll down anymore because I don't know if there's any more personal information, but that's just some of the stuff I had to fill out for the repeater coordination, and I'm waiting for Dr. Ferris, Mike Ferris, the frequency coordinator for my local area, to coordinate it. So gotta wait for that, and I'll get back to y'all. Or I'll probably just pin a comment.